Even plus he's new, he's like, you can hear me, you know you got it.
Yeah.
What does success mean to you?
Success for me means having a vision and then working towards that vision and manifesting that vision into reality. And I think a big part of that for me has been preparation. Because even though I may have a vision to do a certain thing, I may not have the skill sets or whatever to accomplish that thing that I'm envisioning. And so, for me, if I have a vision, I want to gather all the skills that I need to be able to fulfill that vision. Mm-hmm. And so once I do that, that's basically like a learning process. And once I do all that, I carry out, my plan. And once that plan unfolds for me, that's success.
So basically, success means to you is, like you said, having a vision, working towards that vision, creating what you thought in your mind of reality, and obtaining the skills that you feel like you might need to grow. So, throughout, I guess the process is what is successful to you.
Yes, definitely.
But in reality, a lot of the times you may think you need the skills, but in reality you're already prepared. Mm-hmm. Because God prepares you in ways that you haven't even realized it.
True.
So I don't know your background, but I'm pretty sure you had to go through something to get to where you are.
Right.
But throughout that process, you had to be prepared to get you where you were. Mm-hmm. So those are just building blocks that you can use to create your vision.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I know at one point in time, I wasn't even conscious of that, And so I was just doing it. And like you say, I mean, it just has been God's will that, okay, I was given, all that I needed to do the things that I wanted to do.
Right. You just didn't realize it.
Right. I didn't realize it. But once I came to the realization of that, that's what happened. Mm-hmm. Then I started consciously.
And when did that happen? When was that spiritual awakening? Because that's what it's called.
I think for me, that spiritual awakening came to me while I was in prison serving a sentence.
Okay.
Serving a prison sentence, and in there I sat in isolation and what they call solitary confinement.
I actually would love that.
Yeah.
I'm sick, but because it's always noisy around me.
Yeah, I know. I sat in isolation in solitary confinement, and the thing about it is, it allowed.
It's dark in there, isn't it?
No, it wasn't dark, but it allowed me to do a lot of introspection. Mm-hmm. And so I was able to, look myself in the mirror and examine myself, truly examine myself, and see my strengths and my weaknesses, and what I need to do to build myself up. And what I mean by build myself up, I'm talking about build myself up spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically, to do what I felt as though what was my calling at that time, which I think I've received my calling.
25.
And my calling was basically to be a servant of the people, period. Mm. To try to provide for the needs that, African Americans need. But not just African Americans, but African Americans primarily.
But everyone needs
right.
assistance,
right.
And that was my goal for creating this program. Mm-hmm. The I Within is because people always ask me, what does it mean? They always think it's either I get what does it mean, or they think I'm weird. I'm a witch. Get away from me. Yeah. I'm neither one.
Yeah.
So even though I can see things, mm-hmm. I'm not going to tell you that.
Yeah, exactly.
But it is. Because it's scripture, Matthew 6:2.
Yeah.
If the eye was in the body is light, full of light, then the body is full of light. If it's full of darkness, then the whole body is full of darkness. But when people fail to realize, even my son here said, he was like, well, Mom, what if they're blind? I said, I'm not talking about the eyes that you see outside.
Mm-hmm. That's right. You're talking about that spiritual eye.
Yes. So I said, it's just waking them up so they can understand. And so they can not only understand, so they can see that, like you already said, everything you have is already in front of you. Because when you're working with these children, they don't have that.
Yeah.
I mean, they're kids. So children are always welcome in the gates of heaven.
Yeah.
Because they're sinless. But with everything going on, they're being introduced to sin at like 8 years old. So the lack of love for themselves and the lack of everything else, their souls are dark. So an 8-year-old shouldn't be walking around joining people being murdered, but
That's
they
right.
are.
Yeah.
So it is what it is.
Yeah, and really that shows the sickness of society and what is being taught to not just us but also to the children. But one of the things that I took that helped me, guide me along my way, was that I remember reading scripture and Jesus saying that the kingdom is within you.
It is.
You know what I'm saying? All the riches or everything that you could ever want, heaven and everything is within you.
If
The
you're a
door-
child of God, it is.
Yeah.
And I tell that to my students, and I just let them know. I said, look, I can tell you all these things. But I said, I also want you to know that everybody is not from God.
That's right.
So I said, when you get further in your spirituality with Christ, and I said, you also have to understand that when people just go like, oh, I'm spiritual, you don't really want to be around them because they're not telling you what spirit they listen to.
Right.
Because there's more than one spirit.
Yeah.
So you have to understand and discern that it's good and evil. And it took me a long time to realize that when I wasn't where I was.
Yes.
I just knew that I loved God and I never lost my love or faith in Him.
Yeah.
But I always would get into situations because I didn't realize that, okay, everyone's not nice.
Yeah,
So,
that's right.
but
and everybody ain't guided by the same spirit.
no, they're
So
not.
when
Some
you-
people are just evil.
Yeah, that's right. And when you looked into it, I remember reading, I think it was somewhere in John's, Jesus was talking to some of the those who claim they are Jews but are not really Jews. This is what Jesus was saying, and he was saying, he said if you follow God, then you would know me.
Yeah.
He says, but you
I
don't.
actually have my Bible.
He
I
said
take
you
it
don't.
with
Yeah. He said you don't. He said, but you don't. He said you don't follow God. Therefore, you don't know me. He
Right.
said you follow your father, and
They
your father
follow,
is the devil, is Satan, and so that's who you follow. So you're going to be against me. So right there is two different spirits.
Right.
That's being spoken about, and you have to.
And people don't realize that the spirit that he was talking about was Shakaboona. And that spirit is, don't ask me how I know, I just know.
Yeah.
But that is the spirit that a lot of people think is God.
Yeah.
But that spirit is designed to keep you here. That's his assignment.
Right.
So all the other gods, all other religions, have to get authority from God, the one who created all things, to even have people follow.
Yeah.
But that's why he always says you have free will.
Yeah.
Because if you want to come to him, he's not going to tell you no way.
Yeah.
Because he's the one who created you.
Yeah.
But that was, I forget which verse it was, but I know she's talking about, he was
I
saying,
think it was
how
John.
can you believe,
I think it was John 4:44, something like that.
he was like, how can you believe the words of my father, but you don't believe me?
Man, right.
I am him.
Yeah, that's right. He says, I am my father, and my father is in me. We are one.
And he is.
Right.
But that's gets me to the next question is, why do you feel like so many successful people feel empty?
Why they feel empty?
Yes.
I think they feel empty because they only strove for material things. So if you were striving for material things such as Mercedes-Benz, Rolex, Michelangelo paintings, or anything, homes and property, that stuff is nothing. You know what I'm saying? What does it really? What real value does it really have other than the value that we placed on it? So when you do achieve those things, then what? You know what I'm saying? Then what?
You die, and you can't take it with you.
That's right.
It was a scripture I forget what it's called. I forget how it was written, but it was a rich man asking Jesus, "My Lord, what do I have to do to get to the kingdom of heaven?" He said, "Get rid of everything." He said, "What?"
Yeah.
And he walked away from him
because he couldn't. Because
right.
that's the sacrifice, and that gets you to success. And so when we talk about success, most people might be thinking about material or success from the material world. That's one type of success, but we're not talking about that type of success. We're talking about success in the sense of you becoming your full potential. That's what success is for me. Becoming my full potential of who I'm supposed to be and what I'm supposed to be doing.
Becoming the highest version of yourself within Christ.
Exactly. That's right. That's right.
So the scripture that answers this, and what you said is exactly correct. It's Matthew 16:26.
16:26.
Yeah. What good is it for someone to gain the whole world yet forfeit their soul?
That's right.
Or what can anyone give in exchange for their soul?
Right.
Nothing.
And a lot of people do that. You know what I'm saying? You have to remember, I like to tell people about, when Jesus was on the mount, right? And he walked up there with the devil, with Satan or whatever, and he was tempted. The devil tempts you. He's going to say, I give you all the riches of the world. I'll make you a leader. I'll make you a celebrity, right? I'll make you powerful. I'll make you rule this world, because that's what world he rules, right?
Right, the physical.
And if you are one of made of weak nature, then you're gonna bow down.
If you have your flesh,
right? You're gonna bow down to that, and then next thing you know, Satan becomes your god,
right?
And so now you're doing the work of Satan within this world. But if you do what Jesus said, Jesus was like, it's nothing that you can offer me. My Father gave me everything. You know what I'm saying? And I trust my Father. And so the last trick he tried to pull on Jesus was like, okay, if your Father loved you so much, then jump off of this cliff.
Right. And he said he's gonna give his angels charge.
If he had sent angels to grab you, he says, I would not tempt my Father.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's the position that we're supposed to be in. That's every day. That story is what happens to us every day. You have to think, when we're moving in the physical world, whatever you want to be, you have people that's coming in that form.
They have an assignment, just like we have an assignment for God.
Yes.
They have an assignment for Satan.
Yeah.
So their assignment is to kill, steal, and destroy.
Yeah, that's right.
So.
Yeah. And so, I think about all these things. I thought about all these things, and those things are what has helped me become the person that I've become today, and the person I'm continuing to become, growing, because the way I look at it is we never stop growing. We never stop learning.
No, you learn something new every day.
Yeah, we're students of life. So even if I was to consider myself a master, or if other people would consider me a master, I consider myself a student. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm always willing to learn. There's always something that's going to be that's new, that's going to be taught to me in the world. And so I'm open for it, and I leave myself open for it. And but that's where I stand, And I think that if more people were to be guided in that sense, I think we can have better people, and if we're having better people, we can have a better world.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with that. It's just going to take a lot of work.
Of course.
But
life is struggle.
Yeah, it is, but I completely agree with you with everything you said. I just wanted to get your input. So, why do you feel like the youth seek success to cover up their true emotions?
Because that's what they've been taught to do.
So it's learned behavior.
Yeah, learned behavior, group thinking, And so this is what society is teaching, and it's mostly being taught through the medium of social media. Right. And that's become the new teacher. It used to be a time where they said that the hand of a woman, rocks the cradle, and
these women aren't women.
I know.
They act
but,
like men.
Yeah, in that
I'm
sense,
sorry,
it was just saying. In that sense, it was just saying that women are the first teachers.
Right.
And now, that's not no longer the case. At least in America, it's no longer the case. Women are not the first teachers of the children. The first teachers of the children now is TV.
TikTok.
TV. With Elmo and all that stuff like that. And they doing a lot of things with that. Exactly, the homosexuality. They teaching your children that everything that's right is actually wrong, and everything that's wrong is actually right. So they're confusing the youth at a very young age, starting at almost a little as a infant or a toddler. They starting very young with this, and then as they growing up, now they getting social media, they getting TikTok and all these other stuff, and then they going into the schools and they're being taught certain things in schools that you would never teach them at home, because the things that they're teaching is not right. You know what I'm saying?
They at my son's school, which is one of the reasons why I plan on taking him out during orientation. Like I said, I don't judge people. I mean, I do have ears and I do have eyes. The guy, he seemed a little indifferent. He was like, "We don't ban books here. We learn everything." But you see him, he's like a big burly man. But you walk around with a fanny pack, pocketbook, whatever it is, talking about these kids run the school, they can do whatever they want.
Nah,
I kind of already know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Other parents might not be paying attention, but I am.
Yeah.
You're basically telling me that you are learning, allowing them to learn about something that I feel like that's my job to do at home. And they even confirmed it that they have a whole group, a whole club for that. That's not a chess club.
Yeah.
That's an orientation that you should not just be, oh yeah, you can do this, because what they're going to be doing it in the bathroom.
Yeah.
That's not cool.
Yeah.
So.
And it's a lot of things that they're doing. Like, I'm a proponent of, of there being prayer in school. You know what I'm saying?
They took that out.
Yeah. I remember when I went to school. You can do prayer and all that.
Actually, they have prayer in school, but they try to condition people to do, like I don't have a problem anyone's preference. They condition all black youth to just follow Islam. Everyone's not Islam.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's not even. I'm not even going to get into that. That's not even the way that they're praying. Is not even praying to the same God. It's a different God. And for one, you can't even sit down and have a conversation with me of who wrote the book. You know who wrote the Bible. It's based off of facts, eyewitnesses. You cannot say that for the Quran. The Quran is just the Torah backwards. So I mean, they can pray whoever they want to, but that's what they're trying to condition all the young black children to follow.
Right.
And they all have their own mind. They're not all the same. It's just like saying, oh, they all look alike. They don't.
Right.
Everyone's different.
Yeah. Yeah. So we have everybody basically teaching our children, but us.
Right.
And I remember an elder telling me some time ago that you can't rely on the enemy to teach you right when that same enemy never taught you right. You know what I'm saying? Never treated you right, pardon me.
Right.
So we spent over 260 years in chattel slavery in this country, and then we spent another 100 or more years, in an apartheid or a Jim Crow system under terrorism, and so they never treated us right. So why would we expect them to teach us right? So therefore, we need to be teaching our own. We need to take education in our own hands and train our children, correctly, without much of that interference Because if you look at the school system today, right, they done took out civics. So now you have no idea of how elections and politics and just the running of a government works. You have no idea. They took away vocations out of school.
Mm-hmm.
We used to have carpentry and all that. They took vocations out of school. Now a kid can go out
I'm sorry.
of school.
Let's talk outside. It's a Butterfingers. I don't have my sweater, but this shouldn't be too bad. I usually sit by the water, but there's no benches there.
Yeah.
So, you want to sit here, or okay? It's still recording. So you saying I know they took out carpentry because I was taking carpentry.
Yeah.
But I wanted to move because you never know who's listening.
Yeah.
And when you're building something, you don't want anybody listening to what you're trying to build.
Yeah. But yeah, they took away the vocation, so you got to think now, people who, young black men and women who are graduating from high school, they don't even have a vocation that can sustain themselves.
No, they make you pay for it. And
Right.
then the technical school that you go to, it's not equivalent enough because you still need to get continuing education that you have to pay for. And that's how the government gets money with financial aid. You see, when Biden and Trump, even though nobody don't like Trump, he gave out all that money to people. It was to erase the debt for the Democrats and the people who are Democrats. So when he did that, the Republicans didn't really like it because they look at it like that's how they make money. They make money off your debt. So if no one owes debt, they can't get rich. So that's why they wanted to stop it. So I know Trump don't plan on giving away money again because it's not a pandemic unless he creates one. But I don't really see that this country is going to turn around anytime soon. At least by like 6 years, honestly, with the economy and everything like that. So the best thing that I would suggest people do is to try to work for themselves. Only people that they really want to take care of are government employees, because they always do.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head when you just mentioned that, and that point is that we're going to have to work for ourselves.
Yes.
So going back 100+ years, our people coming up out of slavery, the leaders at that time, was trying to figure out a path for African American people to go, and that path was, you had some that were saying, hey, we need to go, the educational path, such as W.E.B. Du Bois.
Building HBCUs and everything like that.
And, and focusing on academics and intellectualism. But then you had people such as Booker T. Washington and Marcus Garvey and Elijah Muhammad. All of these people, they came from the position that, hey, we need to be doing black economics. Mm-hmm. We need to be doing for ourselves, right? We need to set up the technical institutions of higher learning and teach our people all the trades and stuff, because no matter what, I don't care what century you're in, you're always going to need people to build.
Right.
I don't care if it's a spacecraft.
Right.
They're going to, whatever high tech, you're going to need people to build those things. You're going to need people to build homes. You're going to need people to, do technology and stuff like that, right? And I remember I was studying computer engineering and science, and my professor told me, he says one thing you can always look to do, right, instead of just computer programming and stuff, he says, is computer technician. Yeah. And I said, computer technician? He said, yeah. He said, because anything man-made breaks.
Yeah, you
It
need somebody to
fails,
fix it.
and you always need somebody to fix it.
Right.
And he started explaining to me how a computer technician, he's making over 6 figures, and he's fixing mainframes to mid frames and stuff like that, of computer systems. And I thought about that, and I was like, damn, he's right. I don't care what it is, whatever man makes, it breaks, it fails, because it's not perfect. It has a limitation. It has a what we say, a warranty, right? So it has that shelf life, so to speak. And so, but our elders from the past understood this. So they was trying to gear us towards doing doing for self. In order to do for self, you needed to know the vocations. You needed to know about agriculture, because you needed to feed yourself. That stuff still rings true today, but we're not doing it. At least the vast majority of African Americans is not doing it. Very few are. You have black agriculture that's coming back, co-ops and stuff that's coming back. But we need that stuff for the urban centers as well. We need business co-ops, where we're helping each other. We need to teach our children a vocation. Right. A lot of people don't know that. Just around about 2 years ago or so, Biden and them passed the Inflation Reduction Act. This is really big because the Inflation Reduction Act allocates around about $4 trillion to solarize and electrify the entire United States, to bring it into basically clean energy, right? To do away with fossil fuels, all the dirty energy, fossil fuel, oil, coal, and all that, right? But guess what? What people don't know, and what I inform black community, is that is written into the law itself. 40% of that money, of that $4 trillion, is to be allocated to BIPOC communities. That's black and indigenous peoples of color. That's us.
40 acres in a mule reparations.
That's way more than 40 acres in a mule.
No, but I'm saying, is that a part of what they were supposed to give out when they freed them?
Well, that was something that was done by one of the generals during the Civil War, and after the Civil War, they was giving out land, and land was given out. And they even had, later on, they developed what they call the Bureau of Freedmen, right? And of course, the politicians of that time didn't really fund it, and they undermined it a lot, so it didn't accomplish what it was set out to accomplish, which was to give us no longer 40 acres a mule, but to give us land and to basically repair us from the damage that was caused from through chattel slavery. Right. So this is why we at the point that we at right now today, where we're still demanding reparations from a government that violated our human rights, our constitutional rights. You know what I'm saying? And they injured us severely, and they need to repair the damage that they had done. That's reparations.
That is absolutely correct. But to touch on the agricultural part, this is one of the programs that I'm building, a part of the school. It's called Season Tomorrow. So this whole program teaches kids that are in this picture the age of why you need to learn agriculture. This is part of a whole, like I said, it's not an HBCU because it's way past the Civil War. So it'll be a private black institute, but anybody can come. But it's geared towards children. But with people of color have to understand, the government is not going to give you anything. The government doesn't even own the government. It's just there. So you can't really you can ask them for something, but they're not going to give you anything because, for one, like I said, they don't own it, and they want to make up all these laws so you can't get it. Even the president has to ask for permission from Congress just to get something passed, and he's the president. That doesn't make sense to me. Why even become a president? You still got to ask for permission. But that's just the way they wrote the system. So I don't like it.
Well, let me say this.
I don't feel like you need a president.
Whatever you get whatever you would get, they will basically be giving you what you already put in.
Right. It's already yours.
You know what I'm saying? Right. So you got to think all the through our free labor that we put in for all this time, and then from labor that was exploited after slavery, you know, all the way up until right now today, where they cheat a lot of people out of pay and stuff, right? Whatever they would give you from reparations, really, they giving you your own money back.
Yeah,
that they actually
nothing.
really owe you. They're not really giving you nothing back.
I seen an interview from Donald Trump, and he was talking about the black race, and he was saying it was on TikTok, but it was him talking because he talks so much. He was saying that the white Americans are afraid of the black race being awakened. They know that they're the original persons of the country. So he's trying to do everything he can to give them what they can, because you already know what's going to happen. So for him to say that on national TV, but then turn around and do something else, he's kind of like a double-minded person, but at the same time, he's telling them things that he kind of already knows. So maybe it's just like he's trying to reveal to people what the truth is, that they're not really trying to help you, they're always hindering you. You think?
No, I don't think that. I think Trump is a self-serving individual.
Right.
That he does everything for himself. And not only for himself, but for his own little circle. His own, no, not even white people. His
right.
own circle of friends and family and friends.
Right.
Right? He can care less about white people.
So why would they even allow someone like that to get into office?
Because he's speaking their language. You know what I'm saying?
They're blind.
He's speaking their language. He's pulling at the heartstrings of white America, like leaders have done for thousands of years, for at least the last 2,000 to 4,000 years in the world. And I'm talking about the white people, white nations and stuff. They always pulled on the strings of their own people, and those strings that they pull is always fear. Always fear. Is always about white supremacy, and somebody else trying to take what they feel as though is theirs.
Right.
So this racist coded language, Trump, you know, he says these things, and he knows the type of he knows how it's going to resonate with white America.
Just because he wants to win.
Yeah, because he wants to win. But he don't care about white America. You know what I'm saying?
I don't even think he care about himself.
You know, so he's all for himself. He don't even care about this country. Because his ego comes before everything.
I mean, somebody tried to kill him and he did this.
Right.
He doesn't care about himself.
Right.
But why do you feel like this generation doesn't appreciate life as a gift as it is?
Because what the youth are seeing now today is, you know, is hopeless. Mm-hmm. That's what they're seeing. So this is why they can't appreciate it. In order for you to really appreciate something, I found that you actually have to be deprived of that thing. Right. In order to appreciate it. If I give you nothing but the top of the line computers all your life, you're not going to think nothing of it. You're going to think that you're entitled to that.
And that's the thing. A lot of these young children are entitled.
Right. But if I never give you the top of the line computers, you never even had a computer. Think of a so-called third world country. You never even had a computer at all. Mm-hmm. Right? And then I get some computers from out of the trash that the industrial nations done thrown away, and I refurbish those computers, and I give those computers to my people who never had computers. my people is going to be appreciative of the computers that they had. Why? Because they didn't have it. They never had that.
Right.
So for them, that's a luxury just to have a refurbished computer. But people like in this society who are just given computers and they can just throw them away at will.
When they're an infant, you get iPads, tablets.
Right. And so it means nothing to them. So they're not appreciative. So the same applies to life. You know what I'm saying? They're not appreciative of the life that they have, and they will willingly throw their life down the drain. They will willingly extinguish their life. Not just other people's lives, but they will extinguish their own life because they're not appreciative of their own life and what it's worth. Because they have no hope. Everything has been crushed around them. So they don't feel as though they have a future in this world. They don't feel as though they have the job opportunities, the educational opportunities, healthcare, you name it. They feel as though it's not there for them. And they feel as though their station in life is what it is right now, the station in life that they are currently living. And more
they
than
have a 1D perception.
A one who?
Like a one-dimensional perception.
Oh, yes.
So they don't see anything past of a square or a box that's around them, and they don't have empathy. They don't appreciate life because even though it was given to them, the persons who gave it to them don't even appreciate their own life because they see their parents probably using drugs or just partying all the time or just on social media. So that can stem to the reasons, and mental health comes from generational traumas, and it also comes from what they show on media. A person with anxiety turns on the TV, and every time they see it, somebody get blown up. That's going to make their anxiety worse. So if these children are growing up in these environments, when they're 3, they already have anxiety because all they see is negativity. So if you take the child out of so-called norm, put them in remote learning or off the grid, they come into this world, they look at everything like it's an alien, and then less than 6 months, they're going to be like everyone in the world because it's like a parasite, it's a virus. They create these things because they don't want you to grow. I think it's just human genocide. I don't know what's the point of killing everybody or making everyone feel like they're of a sexual orientation when you're just killing everyone. Like, what's the point? It's not going to be any children left. There's not going to be any humans left. It's just going to be back to the way the earth was when dinosaurs was here. So is that what they really want to do?
Personally, I think that a lot of the youth today are suffering from generational trauma.
Mm-hmm.
That's one. And the generational trauma I'm talking about is
sexual molestation.
It can
rape,
be all that. It can be all that. It can be
toxic parenting.
Yeah, it can be all that. It can be domestic abuse in the home. It can be alcoholism in the home. It could be drug addiction in the home.
Incest.
It can be pedophilia in a home with child molestation. It can be abuse and torture in a home, physical abuse and torture in a home. It could be it could be all those things, right?
And it can skip generations.
Yeah, and then I think also, so that's one when I'm talking about the generational trauma, but then I'm looking at the racial trauma, mm-hmm. The trauma that stemmed from white supremacy. So that's a whole nother animal in and of itself, because a lot of black people experience white supremacy, or what we're now calling racism. Mm-hmm. They experience it, and some people don't even know that they're experiencing it.
I experienced it actually not too long ago.
Yeah, but some people say, you'll hear some black people say, I never experienced racism. That's because they don't understand racism.
I've experienced for the first time at a coffee shop. I was on my laptop and two white men came over and started talking about racial injustices literally right next to me. It was like white people feel afraid, black people have more privileges, and they kept saying it. And I knew they were saying it to get me to say something, so I said what I said, and then I left, and then they just looked like they felt stupid because you must have thought I wasn't going to say anything. And then two, you shouldn't say things like that in public without a response. If I was a black male or I was with a black male, you wouldn't have come all the way in the back of the coffee shop and said those things.
Right.
Because you're already afraid of black men anyway. So it's not so, it is white supremacy and the trauma that is caused, but when you tell or inform these youth and young adults of ways that they can change, they don't want to hear it. They want to worry about social media. So if you're trying to enlighten them, what do you think is the reason why they don't even want to hear a solution that can help them want to change? They're stuck in their ways and they're not even 20 yet.
Like I say, I think it's just when it comes to that, it's just the overall culture of American culture. And that's just American culture superimposed on black culture. And it's overriding black culture. And it's just not, it's not only happening to African American people.
It's all minorities.
Yeah. And everybody, all their children is like, you know,
zombies.
Right, going to that. And so that's the problem. Now when we get to black people and how this trauma is affecting mental health, I think that the racism, right, that the generational trauma, right, is a cause for a lot of our mental health issues that we're facing in the black community. And then you have an additional problem that's created because of that, which is self-medication.
Right.
So now you have people who have this racial, they have the racial trauma, and then they have generational traumas, and then on top of that, to deal with it or to cope, they self-medicated. They're using street drugs.
Right, and the street drugs are pumped up with all these other things.
And that's my whole point. The street drugs is not the marijuana that, maybe our mom and pop was smoking back in the day.
Because they grew it.
Yeah, I'm saying, right.
Even the dispensaries
a lot of that
they
stuff
have
was
today,
homegrown, right?
Even the dispensaries that they have today are so-called legal.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that I've condoned any of these practices, but even if you can consume some of the dispensary, but it tastes like something wrong with it. Like, it don't taste.
Well, they with the dispensary and all them,
it's supposed to be clean, but it's not.
Well, what the dispensary and them do, they get theirs from farms,
right?
Marijuana farms that has been regulated,
right?
But these marijuana farms, what they do is they graft the marijuana and to make it stronger, to make it way more.
So it's a hybrid.
They're. I don't know if to call them hybrids is the appropriate term. That's what it's called,
because it's like, you know how to grow gardens, right? That's just considered a garden because it's a plant. So when you take two plants and you put them together, male and female, you can grow them into something else and they'll create a new strain.
Yeah, but that's
like a hybrid.
Yeah, I know that, but I don't think that's what they're doing with marijuana plants. With marijuana plants, it's the female plant that I believe, if I'm correct, that produces the bud.
Right.
And so basically, they find out the potency level, and then they just keep like replanting it or grafting it to make it more potent.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Not necessarily to make it a hybrid, you know, because I think a hybrid is when you're taking one plant and you're taking another plant and you're combining the two.
Right, to make a new strain.
To make a whole new strain. They could be doing that too. I don't pass it by. You know
I mean, they are.
Yeah.
Because they got all these weird names. Yeah. Just make it.
But my thing that I'm mostly focused on is not necessarily that, because guess what? That's still natural. It's still being grown from Earth. What I'm focused on is the unnatural.
Yeah, like fentanyl.
And that's the synthetic marijuana, synthetic cocaine,
K2,
synthetic. Right. So
the gas station stuff.
Right. We're talking about synthetics. We're talking about something that was made in a lab from chemicals.
Yeah.
So now they got all of the people out here, all these youth, they're smoking chemicals. They smoking K2. And even if they are smoking weed, right, they put fentanyl is placed in all the drugs now. It's placed in marijuana, it's placed in, pills, all types of pills people are taking and everything. So even if you think you smoking, if you ain't really getting it from the dispensary and you getting something straight off the street, more than likely that what you're getting off the street not only is how potent weed, right? Mm-hmm. But it's also weed that has been laced with chemical fentanyl. So now,
and the embalming fluid.
Right, all that type of stuff. So when you get these chemicals are mind-altering drugs. And these chemicals are frying the brains of a lot of these youth. And I think that's what's also causing a lot of mental health issues. So guys is walking around, as you see in cities like our city, Philadelphia, they walking around like zombies. They standing in the middle of the street panhandling. They homeless now, and their lives are destroyed by this chemical. So now we're talking about we're not just talking about psychological warfare that's being waged on us. We're not talking about a physical war that's being waged on us, like militarily wise, like police killing people, occupation of our communities. But now we're also talking about a chemical warfare that's going on. That's chemical warfare, and it's destroying us. It's destroying whole families. Just like so crack cocaine was chemical warfare against our people. And so we at that time when crack cocaine came out, we was coming out of the 60s and the 1970s, and we had a lot of unity. We made a lot of different advancements, and guess what? We have an enemy that then introduces crack, right? To destroy our families, to destroy our communities, and to set us back on our achievements. And they have succeeded in doing that.
And they're still doing it.
They're still doing it.
Like I said, when you just pointed that they're chemically imbalanced, so they can't listen to reason when you speak to them about issues that we can talk about, and you can understand right from wrong and everything like that. But when you even tell them that white people walked on all fours like animals, that they didn't stand upright, they had to listen to a black man to teach them. They can't listen to that, because they'll go on social media and be like, you can date who you want to, but it's like they're still pushing to their faces that you need to have children of different nationalities. Yeah. Because it's just a sense of white people know they're diminishing, so they need to try to get a level up as much as they can. But I don't really, it's only so much you can do. If people are not going to listen, you have to just go somewhere else that they will listen.
Well, I'm gonna say this in regards to what you're talking about with people not listening. When I was relatively young, in my early 20s, and I started like trying to teach people, and I was trying to wake people up. Mm-hmm. And I had an elder guy tell me, he said, Shakaboona, he said you can't wake everybody up. He said everybody don't even want to be woke up. Some people want to live in that, it's like the Matrix. They want to stay asleep because it's more comforting. Yeah, it feels good to them, right? And he says He says, but you can't save everybody. He says, but you got to save the ones that want to be saved. And he said, and he mentioned something to me, and he said many are called, but only a few are chosen. So when we look into the book, you know what I'm saying, into the gospel, we see that a call is always made, you know what I'm saying, by whatever prophet, and then by Jesus himself. But a call is always made to the people. And guess what? Some people going to listen. Some people ain't. Yeah. That's just the way it is. And we have to we have to understand that. Yeah. And so this is why we have the parable.
That's something I have to understand.
Yeah, it's something. Yeah. And so, but this is why we have the parable about in the Bible, when it's talking about the seeds, right? Being a planter of seeds, right?
The sower.
Right, the sower. The parable of the sower. And so we have some seeds that are thrown on stony ground. It's not going to grow.
Yeah.
We got some seeds that's thrown on wet ground. It's not going to grow. It's flooded. It's water. You know what I'm saying? You got seeds that's thrown on sand. It's not going to grow. But then you got seeds that's thrown on fertile soil. Those are the seeds that's going to grow. So we got 4 different types of seeds, 4 different types of conditions that seeds is thrown on. And on 3 of those types, they're not going to grow. And on 1 of those types, it is. And it's the one with fertile. The fertile ground is our minds. So the message is the seed. So when you deliver the message to the people, some people's minds is going to be sandy, some people's minds is going to be stony, some people's minds is going to be wet. But some are going to be fertile soil for the seed to be planted, to germinate, to blossom, right, into what it's supposed to be. But guess what? That's 1 out of 4. So you got to think mathematically, like every 1 out of 4 is who you're going to get in the world.
Yeah.
How many people we have in the world?
Over 3 billion.
Now, no, definitely over 3 billion, but it's around about, I believe, 6 billion or so.
How?
You know what I'm saying?
That's why
you got about 2 billion.
That's why they created COVID to kill off them many people.
COVID ain't touched nothing. I know, but COVID ain't touched nothing as far as depopulating the earth.
They gonna try
something else. You got about 2 billion people in China alone. You got another about 2 billion in India. Then you got another about 2 billion in Africa. That's 6 right there. Then now, and those are the major continents. You looked
up all these things, or this is a part of your job?
No, I mean I studied. You know what I mean? I looked it up, but we have roughly 6 to 8 billion people on this planet. You know what I'm saying? But 1 out of 4 out of this 8 billion
turn to God.
Not even that many.
Why do you think
it's going to be even less than that?
Oh gosh. Well, I'm not going to lose faith. I'm still going to keep preaching the gospel.
You don't got to lose faith. It's going to be a great number.
Yes.
A great number, because at the scripture says at the end, you're going to have the army of God, right? Which is the second coming. The second coming is going to have his whole army, and they're going to be army of righteous. And you're going to have the enemy, the Satan, and his army, which is this world that we're living in, and most of these nations and stuff like that. And it's going to be a war. It's going to be an Armageddon, right? And so, and in this Armageddon, they're going to get wiped out. They're going to get wiped out.
It's already here.
Yes, but things happen in stages, and it happens in degrees. And when it happens in degrees, for some people, they can perceive it. But for most people, it's not perceivable with the naked eye. They can't see it happen.
No,
but other
because
people, can see it.
They're not chosen to see. But when you are chosen to see,
you're going to see it.
Yes.
And you know you're living in that time.
It's already here.
Yeah. So and the time is about an old world going out and a new world coming in. But it doesn't happen just like that. It's the old world. The new world is already here, in the midst of the old world.
Yes.
And it's going to replace, gradually, it's going to replace the old world, and then the new world is going to be what it is, and that's going to be,
it's not,
that's going to be God's children.
It's nothing that you can do because it already happened.
Yeah, that's right.
Only thing you can do is follow whom you follow.
You got to play your part.
You have to follow God, and that's it.
Right, play your
if
part.
you don't, he already told you what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So, last couple questions because my mom's calling me.
All right.
And I'll call her back. Now, the focus that I want to get to is young black men and young black women are always targeted as broken, misunderstood, or impoverished. A lot of the times they're not, neither one of those things. They just need guidance. Why do you feel like they always place those stigmas on them? Not even going back to the point of them putting things in your head so you can be behind mentally. Why do you feel like they do those things without even knowing that they do that on purpose?
Wow. Well, for me, it's quite simple, right? They know who we are, and many of us, we don't know who we are.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so we are direct descendants of the Most High.
Right.
We are direct descendants. We are the original people of this planet Earth. Mm-hmm. We populated the four corners of this planet Earth, and every other people on this planet comes from the black man and the black woman.
Right. You can't create white from white.
Right.
Black
and so we create every other color, in this world. Everything comes from black. Everything comes from out of darkness, right? Mm-hmm. Light even comes from out of darkness. Everything. A child comes from out of total triple darkness within the womb, and the universe was birthed out of total triple darkness, right? And so they understand this, and most of our people don't understand this. So by us being direct descendants from the God, the Most High, and they are not, it's a jealousy, it's an envy. It goes back to the book when Cain and Abel, and Cain was jealous and envious of Abel, which allowed him to kill his own brother.
And his blood seeped into the earth.
Right, and that is a parable for us today, to understand today on how we're dealing with a people who are envious and jealous of us and are willing to kill us and take our rightful place on this planet. You know what I'm saying? And being the rulers of this planet as we once were before. Mm-hmm. So we have an enemy, and we have to understand that we have an enemy, and that everybody is not our friend. Just because
that's the reason why that is a big reason, and I'm glad you brought that up. I'm only putting this away. I'm still recording, but also I'm glad that you're speaking the way you're speaking, because that just proves that what I already knew. You're an authentic person. However, it's a lot of false prophets.
Yeah.
And with it being social media, the false prophets are everywhere. Yeah. So everyone is going to say that they came from Jesus, they came from God. But with them not even wanting to listen to reason, they follow these false prophets down the wrong road. And a lot of times they won't even hear this. So with them knowing, every other race knowing that their black people are from God, and they create a whitewash depiction of Jesus, of which is not him. It was over 2 million years ago. That's not what he looks like. I'm telling you, that's not what he looks like. All you can do is just pray to God and just keep reading scripture. However, with them having that mindset to the point where as though so many youth and young adults don't even want to step into a church because of all of the things that they heard. They don't have a faith. They don't have religion. So with them losing that, how do you think that is going to greatly affect them?
How is it going to affect them?
Yeah, not even mental health wise, because you don't. The thing is, if you don't know where you came from, which is God, and you believe in a false image of God, you're not going to ever figure out who you are. So if they can keep doing this for years and years and years, they're never going to be able to reach the enlightenment. So they're always going to be stuck in darkness. So how do you think that's going to affect them? You think black people or black people of color, period, are just going to be conditioned to be thinking as a robot? You're going to have to create minds for them because they don't have their own mind.
Well, if you don't think for yourself, somebody is going to think for you. And that's what we have going on today. Mm-hmm. If you're not going to step up and rule yourself, then somebody is going to step up and rule for you and over you, right?
So they're creating slaves.
Always. Okay. Always. The biggest resource on the planet Earth is stupidity.
Right.
And these slave makers, these enemies, they understand that. And so that's why they appeal, they want to keep people ignorant, and they appeal to people's ignorance so they can manipulate them and have them do what they want them to do. And most of the time what they want them to do is use them to enrich themselves. So they send them to wars.
Right.
They have them farming, they have them building everything.
They make them do labor in jail, but they don't pay them anything. Like the railroads down south, they still do that. Yeah, they still have them do the railroads in jail. They still have them do all types of crazy stuff. I actually went to the jail not too long ago. I'll probably go back just to talk to them and just to get them through things. Because the system hasn't changed, it's not going to change because for them it works. But why do you feel like they use, I'm not even going to call them people because they pawns, to say, oh, I'm black, you can trust me, but in reality, they're like an inside-out Oreo. Why do you think they do that?
Well, one, they do it because they just identify with the slave master. That's it, simple and plain.
They like what they call it, Uncle Tom?
Yeah. I had one of my elders and one of my teachers was a brother by the name of Joseph Jojo Bowens, mm-hmm. and he's still alive. He's a political prisoner, and he is a member of the Black Panther Party and the Black Liberation Army. He's been in prison since 1969, I believe.
So why they not letting him out? Because he's too powerful?
Yes. He a revolutionary. But this is one of the guys that taught me. And I remember he told me when I was young, he told me, he said, and it always stuck in my mind, of like why you're always going to have people of your own kind betray their own kind, right?
For money.
And he told me, he said, to help me understand this, he said a portion of the slaves will always go with the slave master. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't necessarily have to do with money. It's just identification. They want to be the slave master so bad.
That rank.
Yeah, that yeah. They want to be that slave master so bad that they will attach themselves to the slave master and to his system, his ideology of how he thinks, as well as to his system. So this is like when we look at the movie Django, right? You had a guy in there by the name of Stephen, and Stephen was played by Samuel Jackson. And Samuel Jackson was like the right-hand man of the slave master that owned the whole plantation.
Right.
And then you had what's the guy that played
Jamie Foxx?
You had Jamie Foxx that played Django.
Right.
But in this particular movie, Samuel Jackson playing as Stephen wasn't getting no money.
Right.
It wasn't about money.
It was about that recognition.
It's about power.
Right.
So he thought the power of the day was these slave masters, these white people, and running this system. So for him to have that power, he sides with them, so he can have that power. You know what I'm saying? So basically, he become, if we look at it in terms of law, right? You have a law firm, right? You have the people that own the law firm, right? And then you have people who they bring on as partners. right? So now you'll see, you know, the name of the law firm, whoever started it, and then you'll see the partners. Well, the people that join on like that, they are partners or junior partners to that law firm, and that's how it's kind of, you can look at it like that. You know what I'm saying? Right now to the day, you have black people who are junior partners or partners to the white supremacist system, government and system. But it ain't only just black people, it's Asian people, Indian people, it's all types of people.
Is any nationality that they need to vote for, or any nationality that they need to influence or convince? So what I'm saying is, when you're in that position of power, this is what I would do when I was in a position of power. Why not take the resources that they give and give it to your own people?
That's what they should be doing.
Because that's what I did. And that's why they had to get rid of me.
That's what you should be doing. But if you identify with them, you're not going to do that. And they are the ones that they want to hire. So look at America right now.
So they want you fake, basically.
Yeah. They don't want you. They want you pushing their agenda. They want you taking care of their interests, right?
It's like
not
selling
the interests,
drugs.
not the interests of your own people or somebody else, but to their interests.
Right.
So this is why you look across America and all the major cities, especially the northern, just say black cities now. You know, whether they're in the Northeast, Midwest, West Coast, or down south, the cities that now have black administrations. At one time, they didn't have black administration. Philadelphia was a white-ran city.
And they're doing it again.
And right now, all the way going up until it started to flip over in the 1990s, where now Philadelphia is a black-ran administrative city. So it's Detroit, New York, D.C., Chicago. We can go on and on. L.A., we can go on and on. Houston and Atlanta, we go on and on. But guess what? The people that's holding these black administrations, why are we so fucked up under these black administrations? We're just as worse under these black administrations as we were when it was white administrations. Why? Because they put the black middle class into those positions to run the administrations of the city. They are a buffer class.
Right.
They are the ones that identify with the system, with the white people, and remain keeping them in power. They are the Stevens, they the gatekeepers, and they are to prevent people like us from ever getting into that position.
Right.
And running the administration. Because if we get in that position and run administration, listen, we're going to take it over, right. And we're not going to be caring about the larger white supremacist system and everything. We're going to make the system work for us. We're going to make the cities work for us. But that's not what they do, because they got the Oreos in there, so to speak.
Yeah, Oreos, Inside Out, M&Ms, or whatever you want to call it. I'll just tell it like it is. They fake. They're not black. They white on the inside. So
if you look at almost every black person of
the
power,
same type of features.
Yeah, almost every black person of power, that's like, especially that's in a political position,
they wouldn't look the same.
They all are a majority are all black on the outside, white on the inside.
Yeah, and it's not going to change. But I don't want to hold you up. Mm-hmm. But I really do thank you for meeting me. And I would like to continue working with you. Yeah. Because I'm going a lot further with this. Yeah. Because people have to realize you've been freed from the law not to conform to it. Yeah. But they don't even realize that they're free. Yeah. So, that's right. I guess